Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, gracias to everyone for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, and the love and support you guys show me. From the heart, I appreciate every one of you. Also, if the message makes any sense or is to your liking, do help support the channel, right? By liking, disliking, subscribing, and I heard that hype thing helps the message get out there. I would highly appreciate it. But anyways, to get right into it, I've been or trying to get organized to touch on all three sporties, right? And but recently I've been asked a lot to touch on Sporty, and so I'll start off, right. I want to start off with Sporty from White Fence, or as many may know him, Sporty from F Troop, right, from Orange County, because his stronghold was always Orange County, S Troop in that surrounding area, because he goes back with Romo, Champ, Sana, and but this is just a little in look on the way things play out, and how loyalties don't mean anything, right? But anyways, I'm gonna do clarification before I start, right? I've never been with Sporty, same yard on the street, had contact with them. I have with Sana and different hermanos from Orange County, but not him, right? I have been with his boys though, as you guys would hear. But anyways, let me get into it, right? Well, as you guys know, Sporty escaped. You could say that Rico case after the no drive-bys, right? That Sana put out or kicked off, which in reality, you guys know what it was. It was just a try to see if Emmett could influence the neighborhood, which nevertheless, Romo, Champ, all them would end up getting caught, and Sporty would end up staying on the street. And Orange County, for a long time, always worked kind of like a ladder, right? Everybody under Sana, and that's how Sporty did it. He respected, you could say admired Sana for many reasons, The one he was closer to, as I heard, is art, right? That's why he still continue with them avenues that were there. If you guys know. And to get into, I want to get into when I was in Iowa. I met a real good camarada, right, from F Troop, Chito. He was he was a fool. He had a lot of heart, and for those that know him, you will right away know, right? He had a he had one of them funny bodies, right? And I don't mean this in no joking sense or nothing like that, right? Homeboy got his money routine wise, and when something needed to go up, he was with it, right? He had them connections too with with his Phillies, right? It's just the more he worked out, it seemed, again, it was just one of them bodies. For those that know him, know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, I was with him, and he was in touch with Sporty, right? And with Sana. Again, you know, Sporty had a stronghold out there, and he did it through Chito and Spider, No Man Tony, which I would later be up in the bay with them, right? Again, he skated the first, you could say, wave of Rico with Sana and them, right? But the thing is, yeah, it was double dipping. You could say that, right? When in reality, you just expanding his reach. Again, he was strong in F Troop, but he was also working with Chuco Castro. Unknown to him, Chuco was already working with the Federicos, right? And I never believed in luck. Do excuse me, I'm not jumping the gun nor stating anything, but when Chuco flipped, this happened, what, 98, 97, 98, Adochito 99, you know, Sporty was supposed to be there, sitting there with Shy, with all them, right? That Chuco indicted them. But again, for some reason, DA didn't charge him because I guess he was pending charges for that call. For those that don't know, right? That ended up taking a 4-year-old's life. Is when you could say he started rubbing people the wrong way. Mainly because all the big cases he would beat, or for some reason the DA excluded them from him, right? And anyways, everybody said he should have fell with Champ in them, right? But again, I'm not trying to input anything. I just think there's not that much luck. From being out there wiggling, it's just, I don't know. Anyways, again, he got into some misunderstandings over who made that call and who needed to go. He was still trying to shield somebody. I'll just leave it like that. Anyways, eventually that would get squared off. He would go off to the feds, right? And he found his place. I'll just say that. But when he really lost trust was with Mando. When that war happened, started with Mando. Those that knew what it was really about, or what it was, Mando wasn't in the wrong. I heard it from many people, that Sana held on to Orange County by politicking against the same people he brought in. And Sporty being one of them that knew Sana real good, I don't know if he was fed up, or the friendship he had with Mando, but he knew Mando had not done anything wrong, you know. You gotta remember, they're supposed to be equal, right? What gives Sana the right to hold on to a whole county? Anyways, by this time I'm already in the bay, right? Again, up there, old man Tony and Spider are up there from F Troop, and through them, Sporty sending some of my appeals, right? Basically supporting Mando. And he wasn't the only one. I want to clarify, you know. I'll be honest, almost all the bay was with Mando, supporting Mando to win. Of course, they did it the coward way in my eyes, but people call it the smart way, right? From far away, like animo, animo, get it, but will not disclose their hand because there was always that chance Mando would lose like he did, right? Sporty was real open with it though. You know that it needed it needed a change. Orange County did, and one that was local. Sana, not only by age, he was too far, right? He should allow someone else to start grabbing the ropes. You could say it like that. But it was real win knowing at the same time he was over there with Sana and his crews, right? Playing the double face type of thing. And that definitely got a lot of people mad, especially Corcoran. Again, a lot of people in Corcoran, or should I say Peelies, they were rooting for Mando. As you guys know, that was a war. It wasn't like you're used to seeing on when they politic against each other, right? It was something. Orange County is loyal when it comes to Peelies, right? Nevertheless, what I wanna, what I wanna touch on is basically 2015, right? Right before I took off to the feds, homeboy, a big issue surfaced when it came to Sporty. That, in my belief, is it's just dirty, right? That right, I include myself because I was there at one point, but that we give these individuals without question. You know what happened to the loyalty to the neighborhood? You know, it was brought up. I don't know if it was through anger or what, right? But it's how Peelies work. You know that Tecato mentality. They were all rooting for Mando, and Sporty was doing it, and Mando lost. So now the Bay is finding different angles to politic on. One of them was Sporty. And in this I would have to agree, right? You see, it surfaced that he was washing up camaradas in OC. when that little war was happening, he was looking for no excuse, just something to make up and say, hey, homeboy has to bounce. But in reality, it was just because they were supporting Sana. Remember, the directives was allow them to deal with their stuff. Everybody stay out of it, right? And Sporty, he was running a neighborhood, and at the same time, he was hurting the neighborhood. But my question is, before I end this, is when the Sureños stop having the right to question a decision, or when did they stop asking, right? Because, you're on the street. Here's an EME member, I understand, with a long history in your neighborhood, right? With Sana, Champ, Art, being from your neighborhood, being tight with them at one point, right? I understand that. But once you take them individuals out the picture, he stays behind and I'm not saying go against the green at all. But when he starts ordering you to take out your own homie from your neighborhood, when you don't know if they're bogus decisions, when the Sureños stop asking, hey, could you just por favor let me in on the whys? Or can I see the papiros, the black and white? Or in a couple cases, he said, oh, this is coming from Sana. Accordingly, right? A camarada has the right to say, well, give me some time. Let me reach out to Sana to verify. I know nowadays it's like throwing a rope around your neck, cause we put him in a pedestal that, I mean, I was there at one point, believe me. No questions asked, no hesitation. But it's like you're doubting a Pili, and a Pili's gonna take your career. My question to end this one is, when did it all change? May it be Sureño stop asking, or it's a perfect example. It went from them testing out, getting into each neighborhood with a no drive-by order or input, to here's a Pili in a whole different neighborhood without having to show anything, just by word of mouth, hurting your neighborhood and you not being able to question it. Again, I'm not on here for poison, just a little look on how things seem to, you know, take a turn for, it's not for a positive thing, right? I mean, we sit and look around. It's happening not just by one, two, it's everywhere. Chito used to have mad love for Sporty. Same with Spider and Tony. But it came a time where they were hurt. They were hurt because if you're really in the game, you start noticing that how things are lies. But again, well, at least in my case, I haven't set on me to question it either. So I was just curious and wanted to say this. Sorry I can't give you a conclusion to Sporty. Last I heard, he had checked in, right? But I also have heard he passed away. To be honest, when I was in the vets, nobody spoke of him. He just went MIA. But again, for those that know, do please leave a comment. I just thought I'd share this with you how they play their games. Cause at the end of the day, there could be a cool peely, but a tecato mentality, it's always gonna fiend for more power, especially amongst their own. But with that search of power, why camaradas have to be the sacrifice? Just a question. Anyways, I hope I made sense. I will continue here shortly with the other two sporties. Again, you know, I'm touching on Sporty from White Fence out of respect and with my personal knowledge. Can't really get into details I have heard because I can't really, that's comadre. I'll be doing comadre stuff. Spreading poison and it's not what it's about. The message is about, everything's a myth. Stay true to yourself and loyal to loved ones.